It's a bit chilly here today. Not horrible, but it's definitely not swimsuit weather. So anyway, yeah, we're going to proceed on with the guitar build here. Just to start out, I'm going to trim down some of the locating pin that was sticking out above the top. I just want to get that as flush to the top as I can before I begin with the all-important routing, because well, I don't want to stab myself in the hand while I'm doing that. So yeah, we're just gonna take these down, and then once we get those out of the way and kind of flush, then we'll start routing the perimeter. It is new toy day in Unitsville. Got a couple of things that, actually I got them, well this, I got my vacuum about Christmas time. But yeah, it was cold. I didn't get out here to set it up. So I got my new vacuum set up. I got a central vac, which is kind of nice because my poor little shop vac was getting really tired of doing its job. And then, my lovely wife, Mrs. Unit, got me a new router table. So that's the other new toy. So yeah, that's
You got more things.
What's that?
You got more things. You got your grinder thing and your
Yeah, I know I did, but I'm just talking about the things that are being functionally applied at the moment here.
oh.
Really? Okay. Hang on, having momentary technical difficulties here. I'm just in a situation where one set of dogs is too far apart and one set of dogs is not far enough apart for the length of the vise. So, there, that's better. I just noticed I got a couple of little glue drips here on the back. And I'd like to also get them out of the way because teeter-tottery on top of a router table is also not, ooh, okay, I'm gonna have to sand that out. Teeter-tottery on top of a router table is also not recommended. Oh, I'm not gonna have to sand that out. That's where the control cavity will be. Never mind. Ignore me. Or don't ignore me. I'm trying to make content here. All right. Okay. That should get that where we need it to be. So first I'm going to route the perimeter of the body, get my shape. One more thing I got this beautiful, awesome whirring blade of certain death here for my router table. Yeah, spiral upcut, flush cut bearing, not cheap, but boy, it cuts like butter. It cuts really nice. So yeah, I'm gonna be utilizing that here. So first thing we're going to have to do, of course, here is put the template on the top. And for that, we are once again going to utilize the ever popular and always functional masking tape and super glue trick. So start out with the bottom tape. And then, okay, a couple things to make sure of here. Number one, make sure you have your center lines lined up, because the center line is law. If you stray from the center line, you're going to have some serious problems. Secondly, we're going to want to mark where our tape should be on our template. And by doing this, I mean this isn't 100% necessary, but by doing this, then you know your tape lines up when you flip it back over. It's a little more tricky if you guess at it. There are some guys who are really good guessers. I'm not one of them, so probably why I don't bet on sports either. So anyway. Make sure you burnish it down well. Definitely don't want the template to pop off in the middle of running it through the whirring blade of certain death. Okay, now put a little super glue on your masking tape. You flip your template so it lines up. Again, make sure get it on the line. Get your center line where it needs to be. And you're going to have to wait a couple seconds, of course, because we didn't use accelerator, but it doesn't take very long. Alright, so now I think we are going to move over to the router table, which is going to be extremely loud. So I'm probably going to edit out quite a bit of the audio here, and you'll just hear music to shake your rear to or whatever. Also, kids, make sure that whenever you're doing this kind of stuff, we're wearing eye and ear protection. Okay. Okay, so we're all set here, I think. Want to make sure that we check our height. We want our bearing to be riding on the template with the blade cutting the wood. One more tip, always make sure that when you're gonna do router tables, you look at the rotation of your blade. You want to push into the blade. So the blade's cutting this way, you want to be working on this side. Don't work on this side, it'll grab it and throw it away from you and all hell breaks loose. So, okay, we're gonna start in a spot where if it doesn't cut exactly the way I want it to, we aren't up a creek yet. All right, well, some of you may have noticed I was struggling just a bit there at the beginning, and that was because of the fact that I had the router speed was turned down a ways, so that causes problems. All right, so template off. Woo! Look at that. That looks about like it's supposed to. That makes me happy. All right. Now the top here is not exactly even, but most of that will get cut away when, wow, most of that will get cut away when I go to shape the heel. And oh gosh, there's a pretty gnarly chunk of tear out right there though. Might have to do a little bit of a comfort carve there just to hide that. I mean, no, we're not hiding anything. It's a feature, right? We don't make mistakes, we make features. So anyway, I guess, I don't know if I want to keep routing yet, but yeah, probably not, because I should probably carve the top before I do that. And I have a doohickey thingamajig. Saw somebody else on the internet build a router sled. And I was like, oh, that looks cool, but I bet it's expensive. And then I went and looked it up, and it was really actually pretty reasonably priced. So I am, I bought that, and I'm gonna put that together, and then we will have a router sled to start carving the top.
One eternity later.
All right, so welcome back. You want to grab that flag? So, yeah, if you're caught up to this point, you probably noticed that I made a pretty serious error already. I'm kind of prone to doing that at this point. But anyway, still learning, and everybody knows the best of us learn the hard way. So yeah, I didn't route the channel between the switch and the control cavity before I glued the top onto the back. So I'm trying to decide exactly how I want to tackle this. I could try and be brave or stupid, whichever. It's kind of funny how those are awfully closely related, more oftentimes than not. And take a really long drill bit and start at the control jack and diagonally drill all the way up to the switch cavity, trying to make sure that I keep it going perfectly straight. So number one, I don't miss the switch cavity. Number two, I don't drill through the back. And number three, I really don't want to drill through the top. Or I take the chicken droppings method, if you will, and go non-standard Les Paul and put the switch down in the control cavity with the knobs. In which case I won't even have a switch up there, which is a problem because if you look, I thought I was going to be clever when I glued the top on and made one of my locating pin locations right where that switch is going to have to go. So I'm going to have a spot there if I don't put the switch up there. So I've painted myself into a lovely little corner here with that. And I'm gonna have to do a little bit of soul searching on that before I decide whether I'm going to potentially F up this guitar if I do it wrong, or figure out a way to hide that blemish. But anyway, we're not doing that yet. Couple couple of things here. First I wanted to show, I got a new toy. One of the things I've been thinking about for a while is a router sled. Partly because of, you know, doing the top on a Les Paul. If you're going to do the template method where you know, use several templates and make steps going down before you start carving to smooth, this takes a heck of a lot more material away before you got to start with the planes and gouges and crap like that, sandpaper. I know I've seen some other guys, Ben, who will use the angle grinder. Routers are scary. Angle grinders are terrifying. I'm just absolutely mortified by the idea of doing it with an angle grinder. I don't know, I'm just afraid I'm going to take way too much material way too fast. At least with this I have a bit of a controlled method of going about it. It's still a router, you know, it's still scary. You're still going to have to do a lot of making sure that we cross T's and dot I's before we attack it, but at least it's a little bit more controlled. It's not freehanding it. Unless you're going to freehand with a router, in which case you're insane. So anyway, I did some looking around on the internet trying to find a good router sled design, and I saw several that were being built with wood. You know, wood being a live product, a natural product, you know, unless you're going to get a super high quality, tight grain hardwood to fabricate the frame out of, you're going to get a significant amount of drag with softwoods, plus every time it dings, every time it dents, things like that, it's going to cause more problems. The other thing is you're really relying on some byproduct to keep it smooth and sliding, whether it be wax or, you know, if you're going to use varnish or something like that to smooth it, that's going to wear over time. And it's not going to be much time in most cases. So this, all right, so these two rails go forward and back, and these two rails give me the side to side. And of course I still have my plunge control base. So with this, I'll be able to route all the way around a control cavity. It's got fairly good range of motion and things like. I have noticed that, like, if I'm all the way over to this side, that, oh, now it's not going to do it because I'm on camera. But I have noticed that sometimes it'll torsion and bind just a little. There it is. See, every once in a while it'll torsion and bind a little bit if you're way off to one side, like that. But most of my work's going to be done right here in the middle anyway, so that won't be a big deal. And I got a vacuum hose for the dust extractor, so hopefully that cuts down on the amount of wood chips and stuff like that. But today, I'm going to tackle something else that's scary. Why are Les Pauls scary? Why is there so many scary elements to the Les Paul? I don't know. I love Les Pauls, and yet this whole thing is just unnerving to me. One of the things with the Les Paul, of course, if you're using the Tune-o-matic bridge and the stop bar tailpiece, you have an angled neck pocket, right? And I have watched several videos on how to do an angled neck pocket. And some people, of course, have engineering degrees, and so they sit there and spend 45 minutes discussing how to work out the fundamental angle of the neck brake and things like that, and that's just a bit above my pay grade. know, I'm not doing that. So the next thing that I saw a couple people, and Ben even said that how he goes about doing it is to put a piece of wood, and of course I'm going to masking tape and super glue that in place, but put a piece of wood there, and then take your plane, and the heel rides on that piece of wood, which gives you about where your Tune-o-matic bridge height is, and then you use that to plane away until you get back to about where your neck pickup will be sitting. And by doing this, it works a angle into the top, which you can then put your router on after you glue or super glue and masking tape your template down and route your template. And since your template's sitting at that angle, then your router's going to ride at that angle, then your pocket is routed to that angle. So then you don't have to piddle with trying to make an angle on the heel of the neck. You don't have to piddle with, you know, trying to work out how to get the pocket at the proper angle by setting your template on there and shoving shims under your template to get your template to sit at the right angle or anything like that. Plus, if you look at most carved top Les Paul style guitars, that's pretty much how it looks. I mean, that front edge is shaved down a bit to get that more fluid motion into the neck, rather than having a flat top and having a neck that's angled, which looks, you know, kind of striking. The gradual turn of the body into the neck angle makes it look, you know, more fluid, more like it's meant to be that way. So I think that's what we're gonna go for here today. So to start out, I have my template here. The other thing, I'm not 100% sure yet if I'm going for a glued in set neck or if I'm going to bolt on. I've done bolt on already. Bolt on seems less fraught with issue. However, you know, most Les Pauls, people see Les Pauls and they associate the Les Paul with the set neck. So we will see what happens here. This is not going to work worth a shit because it's... Oh! Okay. Yeah, because it's quilted. It's all frickin' weird grain. Okay, so that didn't work as well. Let's try it again. I think I want to scoot that board just a little bit closer. This isn't exactly a ½ an inch either, so I mean, it's not like I'm gonna royally screw it up. This would be probably pretty close to if I had the bridge cranked all the way down to the body. Would it meet the angle? Of course, if I go a little farther forward with that, then that means the bridge would have to be a little higher up to meet the angle. second attempt. I think maybe by scooting it a little closer, my plane has less of a chance of running off and then coming back and knocking it loose. Plus I'm sitting here thinking, did I burnish it the last time? I'm not sure that I did.
You did not.
So hopefully this will adhere a little better. This is freaking horrible. I'm gonna blade set that people. I am now learning what I have heard so many say before about why they don't really like quilt. Because while it's absolutely beautiful, all this cross grain is a bitch.
How far do you have to go?
About right there. Right now I'm just trying to clean up some of these ugly little drag marks. some of that's gonna be work for the sandpaper too, but all right. So then now you can see that that's angled downward more. So now if I template back in place, and then I take that down that way and route my neck pocket. It's going to route it at the angle it's supposed to. I'll just put a shim under here to prevent it from wanting to drop back as I do the routing. All right. Cool. Got a little chewed up. I've heard people lament the challenges of quilted maple before. I'm starting to see it.
Okay.
Alright, so now, before I proceed with the drilling out part, I need to redraw the neck pocket so I know where the drill has to go. Kind of important. And I think I am going to get brave and do a set neck. I don't know, I've never done it before, but I'm gonna be saying that 10 years from now if I never do it, so.
Are you still gonna do, what was that called, a scarf? Or, no, that's not it. When it's like that?
Angled?
No, it's on your neck.
Oh yeah, yes I am gonna do the scarf joint on the neck. Initially I was thinking about doing like a multi-laminate, multiple layers, but yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think I want to save that for another project. So for this one, I'm going to do a scarf joint. I don't know, I thought about doing something crazy, because one of the things that I've always wanted, I've seen only a couple of them in existence. Aldo Nova, lead guitar player of Aldo Nova, had a signature Les Paul that had an Explorer headstock on it. And Rick Nielsen of Cheap Trick, one of his Les Pauls years ago, of course had the ever popular and always lamented broken headstock on his Les Paul. And when he had the neck replaced, he had him replace it with an Explorer neck. So it's a Les Paul with a hockey stick headstock. I have always thought that was really cool. And I'm going to do it at some point, but I don't think I'm going to do it to this one. I don't know, this guitar is just, it's more pretty than it is like a crazy rocker guitar. I really don't want to, I don't want to do anything insane or obscure to this guitar, I don't think. I think this one I'm gonna just try and keep it fairly standard. And I know some people are like, oh, that's boring. Well, maybe so, but I want it to look nice, not just, you know, look. That's crazy, man. I don't need a crazy looking guitar necessarily. I just want a nice looking guitar when I'm done with this one. And just for safety's sake, I'm going to clamp it down to the table here too, so hopefully it doesn't jump away from me. No. Okay. Say your prayers. I'm still gonna have to do a fair amount of slow whittling with the router, but at least this way I know I am not getting too deep right off the bat. right now I'm sitting at 5/8 of an inch, which, you know, that's still just slightly less than half an inch to get down in there to about the level it needs to be, but I can do that a lot slower and more controlled by slowly stepping my router.